Is there any point where the president would consider opening up domestic production in order to mitigate some of this, the inflation, and assist our allies in Western Europe?
In terms of whether or not there could be more oil drilling, I'd point you to the oil companies on what available places they have and if they're
Why not reopen the Keystone Pipeline and reopen federal leases on U.S. land? Because we had energy independence, and that was a large leverage for the United States over Russia. Now we don't have that anymore. In fact, we now buy more fuel from Russia than we have in the past. So why wouldn't you want to revisit those in order to increase our leverage over Russia?
One of the things that President Biden has been very focused on is making sure that if Putin turns down the supply of gas to Europe, that we can find cargoes of liquefied natural gas going elsewhere in the world and redirect them to Europe. So the United States is prepared for a contingency in which Russia
But you do concede that we're no longer
to
energy independent, Jake, and we were before.
We have to look out 10, 20, 30 years. And over those years, President Biden's investments and his vision for how to make the United States the world's clean energy superpower, that's what's going to put us in the best strategic position alongside democratic, like-minded allies and partners.
Well, I mean, some might say that Russia and China would look at that answer and feel that they're in a pretty good position.
Is there any point where the president would consider opening up domestic production,
including tapping the Strategic Petroleum Reserve?
When we were very recently energy independent in this country.
Oil is a global price. Now, a few months ago, the president released 50 million gallons from the strategic reserve, and certainly that helped matters. If that's something we have to look back again at, we will.
Oil and gasoline prices have only gone up since then.
In fact, prices fell by about 10% a gallon around that period.
They're now above that level.
Yes, gas prices are going to go up and down as they always were. This is a global price. That is precisely what this labor market is delivering.
And that's worrisome. Again, with due respect, I don't mean to cut you off, but I asked a simple question. What is the White House plan to bring oil and gasoline prices down for the American consumer?
And I'm giving you what I believe is a simple answer. So you're pulling out one variable, one global price, and saying, look, only at that. I'm telling you there's a lot
price that American families deal with every single day
to look at here.
The largest reduction in childhood poverty ever recorded in a single year, and the strongest economic growth this country has seen in nearly 40 years. Historic economic progress.
Sinking poll numbers with this presidency, in particular with his handling of the economy. So based on everything you just said, you would expect that he's polling very well. He is not. Why is the president touting this strong economic growth and a jump in wages, as you see there, hourly earnings up 5.7%, when inflation is up 7%? It's not keeping pace with that. So you can make the case that real wages are actually down.
It's precisely the way the president is talking about this that's going to get us out of this mess.
For many Americans, wages are up this year. In January, wage increases were strong across the board, and that's good. We have to continue to keep wages growing, and we need even more high-paying jobs.
But, wage growth is not keeping pace with inflation, and we do need to be concerned about, whether or not there is any indications that that is affecting inflation. And again, that is the Fed's job. But, let me remind you that, so far they are not keeping pace with inflation.
Average people are getting clobbered by the cost of everything today. Gas prices at the pump are up. We're working to bring them down, but they're up. Food prices are up, working to bring them down as well. Guess what? We're going to keep strengthening the supply chain to bring down the cost of all these goods.
You are working on fighting the root causes of immigration in Central America. But so far, we've seen not a reduction in the number of immigrants coming to the U.S., but we are seeing an increase in the number of people coming in. So what has gone wrong so far?
I believe very strongly and approach the work that we are doing to address the root causes. Or what we must do is help address the reasons people are leaving.
Johns Hopkins study on the lockdowns found that it only reduced COVID mortality by 0.2% in the US and Europe, and that it suggests that lockdowns shouldn't be a part of a future pandemic response.
I would note that the president has been clear we're not pushing lockdowns. We've not been pro-lockdown. That has not been his agenda. Most of the lockdowns actually happened under the previous president.
And my decision at the outset of our administration to buy American. I made clear that when the federal government spends taxpayer dollars, we buy American products. American products made in America, including all the component parts of that product.
They signed a $1.3 billion contract with the Pentagon last month for these tests, optics and messaging of sending something to Americans' homes. It says made in China on it.
At the tests and make them free and accessible, which required us purchasing some of those tests from China in order to meet that demand. But that doesn't change our commitment to.
You're saying that to be sufficiently woke, an Asian American must support policies that discriminate against Asian Americans. I got to tell you, that doesn't make sense. Is my reading of what you wrote incorrect?
Senator Cruz, again, we are talking about something that I wrote when I...
Today, I'm not asking what you thought then. I'm saying today, as you sit here, as the Senate is considering you for a lifetime appointment as a judge, do you agree with what you wrote that Asian Americans, to be sufficiently liberated, must support discrimination against Asian Americans?
Senator, without the complete context of that particular quote that you've excised,
I read it to you.
I cannot give you, I would have to review the entirety.
But you said you did review it before this hearing, right?
Senator,
Correct.
I reviewed it briefly.
Can you tell me what the Fourth Amendment is and the rule of search and seizure and what the exceptions are? And the exceptions to it?
The exceptions are quite numerous, so I certainly wouldn't be able to give
couple.
Border search, exigent circumstances. You know, off the top of my head, I can't give you the full list. For me to give an opinion on a hypothetical like that.
Come on, Judge. Don't dodge my question. This is really basic constitutional law.
It could perhaps be resolved.
Suppose the state did it. This is what I'm getting to. Suppose that California said, we appreciated Supreme Court. I'm way over. I'm sorry. You need to look that up. Okay, it's pretty basic.
Now you tell me, what happens if someone illegally crosses the border, they're processed within 48 hours, given a document that says you can be here 6 years to go anywhere you want to go in the country? What do you think they're going to do when they pick up their cell phone? I'll tell you what's happening. They're texting a family member back home. They're texting friends back home and saying, I got in, and here's how I did it. Come join me. And they are.
He has taken steps to protect DACA recipients, ended the Muslim ban and the public charge rule, put together the Family Reunification Task Force, restarted the Central American Minors Program that the previous administration ended, extended our newly designated temporary protected status for a number of countries, and worked with DHS to give clear guidance for internal enforcement. And very clear on our view about the inhumanity of the prior administration and how they handled immigration, and that we had every intention of implementing a different approach.
Will he make similar pledges? There's never been an Asian American justice or an LGBTQ justice. So will he make a similar pledge?
I don't have any new pledges to announce for you.
I mean, did you mean it? You said it. Here it is. Big as Dallas. I read the op-ed.
Should not be choosing winners and losers.
Yes, ma'am. So you disagree with the editorial?
The editorial was one that I wrote. Sector.
So you changed your mind?
I have made myself completely clear, the payers to undo
Senator Kennedy, your time's expired.
Outreach from the administration to Border Patrol, given that we're seeing more of this come to the surface.
I haven't watched in detail the video. I will note that I think it was the migrant flights video. Is that the one that was, or is it different?
It's a different video.
Okay. Of course, the role that Border Patrol agents play in ensuring security and safety at our borders is something that there's great value for in this administration. I would point you to the Department of Homeland Security, who oversees, of course, the Border Patrol.
The president told governors today, quote, we've sent you a whole hell of a lot of money and we're going to send you more.
And Gov, you said send you money. We have. We've sent you a whole hell of a lot of money. and we're going to send you more. Keep using it as well as you have.
The latest poll shows that just over 3/4 of Americans, 76%, want the president to consider all possible nominees, not only black women as he pledged on the campaign trail.
More than 3/4 of all Americans question the president's pledge to consider only black women to replace retiring Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, saying he should consider all possible nominees.
What do you make of this, and why do you think that a majority of Americans want the president to take a different approach here?